The period between 1919 to 1947 is of special significance in the history of Indian freedom struggle. It saw the emergence of Mahatma Gandhi into the arena of Indian politics. It marked the beginning of a new era. In this chapter, we will learn the following concepts: Mahatma Gandhi entering Indian politics, Government of India Act 1919, Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, the Swaraj Party, Simon Commission, demand for Purana Swaraj, Revolutionary Nationalist Movement, Round Table Conference, Civil Disobedience Movement 1930 to 1934, Government of India Act 1935, Indian National Army and Subhash Chandra Bose, Cabinet Mission Plan 1946, Mountbatten Plan, Indian Independence Act of 1947.
Early revolts, tribal revolts, peasant revolts. The Nationalist Movement from 1870 to 1940. Peasant revolts. After 1857, frequent famines, aggravated by economic hardship, resulted in a series of revolts against the tyranny of British rule. Indigo revolts in Champaran between 1866 and 1868, Jaisore in 1880, and in Darbhanga between 1889 and 1890. The Wahhabi movement from 1822 to 1870 and the Kuka Rebellion 1866 to 1872, led by Guru Ram Singh in protest against the deliberate policy of the British to create enmity between Hindus and Muslims. The Nationalist Movement from 1870 to 1940. Peasant revolt, tribal revolt, cause for the national movement, formation of political organizations, the moderate phase, the nationalist phase, Partition of Bengal, Swadeshi and boycott movement, revolutionary trend and the Gadar movement, Communalism, formation of Muslim League, Home Rule League. Tribal revolts. The tribal people too revolted against the British for depriving them of many of their age-old privileges in connection with the use of forest resources. The violent Munda revolt in Chota Nagpur area in 1881 to 1885. The second revolt took place in 1889 and was suppressed in 1900. The tribes of Assam, Manipur, Odisha and Chota Nagpur also revolted frequently. In 1889, Vasudeva Balwant Phadke organized peasants and tribals and started an armed revolt against the British. All these revolts were spontaneous, localized and short-lived. Causes for the national movement. Economic and industrial policies of the British. Development of modern transport and communication systems. The British education system proved to be a blessing in disguise. It enabled the educated Indian middle class took on the responsibility of spreading nationalistic ideas all over the country to also struggle for their freedom. The contemporary Indian literature, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, R.C. Dutt, Dadabhai Naoroji and M.G. Ranade, and newspapers like Amrit Bazar Patrika, The Hindu, the Bombay Samachar, the Azad and Hindustan in UP, the Tribune of Lahore, created an ideal atmosphere for nurturing the national movement. Cultural awakening by rediscovering India's glorious past aroused the conscience of the Indians and enlightened them about their great civilization. Racial discrimination was a major factor in alienating the educated Indian youth. Ban on the free expression of ideas through the vernacular press by passing the Vernacular Act in 1878. The Arms Act that debarred Indians from carrying weapons even for self-defense. Formation of political organizations. Intellectuals of India distressed by the discriminatory and repressive policies of the British, started forming political associations to raise their voices against the British. In 1870, M.G. Ranade, Chiplankar and Gopal Krishna Gokhale formed the Pune Sarvajanik Sabha to focus attention on the poor, social, economic and political conditions of India and to create awareness among Indians as well as to draw the attention of the government to their causes.
The Indian National Congress was founded by A.O. Hume in 1885 and was presided over by W.C. Banerjee.
The Indian National Congress represented the urge of the politically conscious Indians to set up a national body to represent the political and economic demands of the people. The Moderate Phase, 1885 to 1905. The Congress members during this period adopted constitutional rather than agitational methods. They presented their grievances to the British government in the form of long petitions and appeals. When several demands of the Congress were accepted by the government, its popularity and membership increased. Some of these demands were improvement in agriculture and condition of the peasantry, selection of Indians for high administrative posts, reduction in taxes, and spread of education. The important moderate leaders were W.C. Banerjee, Dadabhai Naroji, Badruddin Taibji, Firoz Shah Mehta, and Gopal Krishna Gokhale. These leaders popularized the idea of Swadeshi. The Nationalist Phase, 1905 to 1918. The split of Congress at Surat session in 1907 led to the establishment of the Nationalist Phase. These leaders argued that the aim of the Congress should be the attainment of Swaraj through all possible methods. It was initiated by Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal. Partition of Bengal. In 1905, Lord Curzon divided the province of Bengal into two parts, East Bengal and West Bengal. He held that Bengal was a big province, too large to be administered efficiently as a single province. Anti-partition movement was organized by the national leaders at Calcutta in August 1905. The movement spread throughout Bengal. Swadeshi and boycott movement were adopted to put pressure on the government. Swadeshi and boycott movement. Swadeshi means of one's own country. It was based on the principle of self-reliance, which refers to manufacturing and using indigenous goods and boycotting foreign goods. It involved withdrawing all cooperation to the government, boycotting everything British. The Congress extended its support to the movement in its Banaras session in 1905 and then its Calcutta session in 1906. A reign of terror was unleashed by the British on the nationalists, leading to their arrests, imprisonment and deportation. To maintain peace, the British offered few constitutional reforms. The Indian Councils Act was passed in 1909, popularly known as Morley-Minto reforms. The Act increased the number of elected members in legislative councils. These members were elected indirectly and their powers remained advisory. Revolutionary trend and the Ghadar movement. The shift from nationalist to revolutionary trend was a logical one. The British policies had led to rampant unemployment, which had created widespread resentment among educated youth and other sections of Indian society. A series of revolutionary acts created panic among the British. Khudiram Bose, who along with Prafulla Chakki had planned to kill Montfort, was arrested and hanged. Some well-known secret societies had been established. These included Yugantar by Bhupendranath Datta and Abhinav Bharat by V.D. Savarkar. In 1913, the Indian immigrants organized a party known as the Hindustan Ghadar Party in the USA. It aimed to work for the liberation of India, their motherland. It held that Indians could achieve freedom only by a national revolution in India. Its prominent members were Sohan Singh Bhakana, Lala Hardayal, Kanshiram, Karim Baksh and Ajit Singh. The Gadarite revolutionaries urged the Indians living abroad to come back to India to help the revolutionaries overthrow the British government. Communalism. Formation of Muslim League. After 1857, the British adopted the policy of divide and rule. The British encouraged separatist tendencies among the Muslims and the Hindus. Muslims led by Nawab Salimullah of Dhaka were also encouraged to start a separate organization for Muslims, with the Congress being described as a party of Hindus by the British. In 1906, Aga Khan and Nawab Salimullah Khan formed the All India Muslim League, duly supported by Viceroy Minto. The objectives of this organization were very clear: to safeguard the political and other rights of the Indian Muslims. Home Rule Leagues. Tilak established the Home Rule League in 1916 to attain self-government for India. At the same time, inspired by the Irish Home Rule movement, Annie Besant launched a similar Home Rule League in India and started the journal New India to spread the message of freedom among the Indians. Tilak and Annie Besant coordinated with each other, as a result of which the Home Rule movement soon spread to different parts of the country.